home to Phèdre and Joscelin, whom I loved beyond all measure, home to Queen Isendre to agree to her political machinations, to Mavros and my Charizai kin, to Bernadette de Ravalion, who hired a man to kill me in Tiberium, to my royal cousins, the d'Angeline princesses, young Alice, who is like a sister to me, and the Queen's heir, Sidonie, who is not, to my mother's letters. For 3 years she had written to me. Once a month the letters came, save when winter delayed their delivery. Then a packet of 2 or 3 would arrive. I threw the first letter on the brazier, but Phèdre rescued it. After that she saved them for me in a locked coffer in her study. I read them in single sitting, well into the small hours of the night. The lamps burned low in Phèdre's study until they began to sputter for lack of oil. I refilled the lamps and read onward. Beyond the door I could hear the sounds of Montrèves's household dwindle into soft creaks and sighs as its members took to their bedchambers. When I had finished the last letter, I refolded it and placed it atop the others. I put them away and closed the coffer, locking it with a little gold key. And then I sat for a long time, alone and quiet, my heart and mind too full for thought. By the time I arose, it seemed it must nearly be dawn, but I'd grown accustomed to doing without sleep during the siege of Lucca. I blew out the lamps and made my way quietly through the townhouse. Imriel? There was a lone lamp burning in the salon. On the couch, Phèdre uncurled. She reached over and turned the wick up a notch. The flame leapt, illuminating her face. Our eyes met. It was still too dark to see the scarlet mote on her left iris that marked her as Kushiel's chosen, but it was there. I knew it was. "I'm fine," I said softly. "Do you want to talk?" Her gaze was steady and unflinching. There was no mirror in the world into which Phèdre feared to look, not any more, not after what she had endured. I thought about what my mother had written about her. "No," I said, but I sat down beside her. "I don't know. Not yet." Phèdre had read the letters. It was 4 years ago, when my mother vanished. Because I couldn't bring myself to face the task, I'd asked her to do it, to ensure there was no treason in them, nothing that might divulge her whereabouts. There wasn't. But I remembered how she had looked afterward, bruised and weary. I felt that way now. She watched me for a long moment without speaking, and what thoughts passed behind her eyes I could not say. At length she reached out and stroked a lock of my hair, a touch as light as the brush of a butterfly's wing. "Go to bed, Imri. You need sleep." "I know." I swung myself off the couch, leaning down to kiss her cheek. "Thank you." Phèdre smiled at me. "For what?" "For being here," I said. "For being you." In my bedchamber I pulled off my boots and lay down on my bed, folding my arms beneath my head and staring at the ceiling. When I closed my eyes, I could see the words my mother had written swirling in my head. The first words. Her first letter. "You will wonder if I loved you, of course. The answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. I wonder, as I write this, how to find the words to tell you, words that you will believe in light of my history. I can tell you this. Whatever I have done, I have never violated the precept of blessed Eloa. It is in my nature to relish games of power above all else, and I have played them to the hilt. I have known love, other loves, the deep and abiding ties of family, the fondness of friends and lovers, the intoxicating thrill of passion, the keen, deadly excitements of conspiracy. All of these pale beside your birth. I began to know it as you grew within me, a life separate yet contained, our veins sharing the same blood, my food, your nourishment. And then the wrenching separation of birth, the two divided and rejoined. When they put you in my arms, I felt a conflagration in my heart, a love fiercer and hotter than any I had known. You will remember none of this, I know, but in the first months of your life